I recently worked with a couple who were experiencing something pretty common in the bedroom, or so I thought. Let's call them Susanna and Jeff. They had been married for years and their sex life had changed quite a bit in the time that they were together. In the beginning, they had frequent, rough, and fast sex, and that worked for them both. But lately, they had started to feel sexually incompatible. Jeff wanted to stick to their status quo, but Susanna was no longer turned on by it. She found herself needing to take it slow. She wanted to be warmed up throughout the day with nice gestures and kisses and flirting. And when it came to the bedroom, she was frustrated by how little foreplay they did before the penetration began. She found that it was getting harder and harder for her to orgasm, which left Jeff feeling inadequate and unwanted. Now, on the surface, this seemed like a simple shift in compatibility. You know, as we grow, our desires and turn-ons change. But as I probed a little deeper, I actually discovered that compatibility wasn't the issue. In fact, in one of our sessions, Susanna blurted out that she often experienced pain and discomfort when she and Jeff were having sex. And this shifted coaching entirely. Because it turns out compatibility isn't the root of the issue here. It was actually early penetration. Now, if you've been following my channel for a while, thank you. You know that I'm a firm believer that sex should never be painful unless you're bringing in, clothespins, whips, chains, that kind of stuff. The bedroom is not the place for discomfort. But unfortunately, many women, a number way higher than I think is acceptable, will experience pain during sex. Now, there are plenty of reasons that this can happen, and I will recommend right off the top that you go talk to a healthcare provider if it's happening to you or your partner. I'm going to be addressing one of the most common and least discussed ones in this video. And that is that many women, including Susanna, have the experience of being penetrated before their body is ready. I've said before, the vagina is like an oven. It needs time to heat up before you put the goods in. But unlike an oven, if you put something in the vagina before it's ready, especially if you do that many, many times, it can have a lasting negative impact. You see, the vaginal canal is made out of muscles, and it naturally contracts when it feels threatened. Think of the vagina like your eye. If you see a finger coming at your face, what are you gonna do? You're gonna squeeze your eyes shut and try to avoid that getting into your eye. It happens without you even thinking. It's literally evolved into us to do that. Well, the vagina works in a very similar way. It braces itself by tightening if it isn't ready to be penetrated. And over time, that bracing becomes automatic, just like it is with your eye. It leads to pain, it leads to discomfort. If you saw my show, Good Sex on HBO Max and Discovery Plus, you might remember me sharing this with one of the couples, Adam and Alana. And just like I told them, there are a few simple things that you can do to alleviate this pain, heal the vagina, and make sure that sex is comfortable and pleasurable for you both. Number one is take your time. Look, I get it. Sometimes a hot and heavy quickie in the pantry doesn't allow for the slow and sensual play of appetizers and warm up. But the truth is that almost all women, I would venture most, are not getting enough foreplay. Seriously, more foreplay for everyone. And for God's sakes, take your time with it. When it comes to sex, you are not running a sprint. It is a marathon, especially if you plan on being together for a long period of time or you want to be sexually active your whole life. If you aren't giving her mind and her body enough time to truly get into the mood, my friend, you're doing it wrong. I see this with a lot of couples, including Susanna and Jeff. It's not uncommon for people who have been together, especially for long periods of time, to lose touch with how pleasurable it can be when we move slowly and deeply connect intimately with another person. I mean, even couples who are having regular sex report that their love lives can feel unsatisfactory. Their connection can feel a little stale. And this is where taking your time and actually slowing things down, especially with foreplay, comes in. You see, every woman is different when it comes to how long she needs to be warmed up before penetration. But there is one secret tip, and in my experience, it is the best, most surefire way to know that she's ready. But I'm gonna save that for last because you know I love a good tease. Have we learned nothing in this video? Now, what do I mean by foreplay? I mean anything that brings pleasure, pulls the body and the mind into a sensual, sexual mood. That could be a massage, it could be a bath, it could be kissing passionately on the couch. It doesn't have to just be oral and manual sex with your hands, although certainly that can be included as well. The point is to go up until you are about to explode with desire, which brings me to my second tip. Number two, the penis comes last. When it comes to knowing when to penetrate for her pleasure, you can pretty much always trust this rule. The penis comes last. Susanna found that her body took a while to truly warm up and get to the point where she was ready to accept Jeff's penis inside of her. But there are smaller appendages that not only can bring incredible pleasure, but also serve as a perfect way to get your partner ready for the main course. And of course, I'm talking about your tongue and your fingers. These are truly your superpowers, and most men are not using them enough. Most women love oral. If she doesn't love oral, that's something that you can discuss with her, maybe something that you can get better at or overcome any insecurities she has. Oral is fantastic as a standalone, but it's also an incredible way to boost arousal and provide intense sexual stimulation without penetration. And as for your fingers, well, they're just like your penis, but smaller. They can bend, articulate, move, jiggle, wiggle, things that your penis really can't do, which makes them great for slowly introducing penetration. Now, some women like a gradual penetration experience. You can start with a single finger, slowly touching on all 360 degrees of the inside of her body, letting them know that they're safe to relax. After that point, you can insert more fingers if that feels good for you both. The idea is that you're slowly warming her up. You're priming her body for penetration. You're giving her body and her mind enough time to not only prepare for you to enter her, but for her to be so aroused that she's begging for it. Which brings me to my final and best pro tip, and totally unknown by most folks, way to know that it's time to penetrate a woman. Tip number 3 is to wait for her to ask, even beg for it. Listen, I'm telling you, if you take your times with steps 1 and 2 and you really get good and skilled at them, if you pay attention to her entire body, you make her aroused and turned on and engorged with blood before you even get to what's in between her legs, then you take your time touching, rubbing, and licking her pussy, slowly inserting one finger, you're gonna reach a point where she simply cannot take it anymore. She wants you. If you do this and you skillfully give her the attention that she needs to get turned on, she's going to beg you to enter her. She's going to say it with her words. She's going to say it with her body. She's going to move her hips closer to you. She's going to grab you with her hands and pull you closer to you. This, gentlemen, is a fact. This is body language 101. And this is the most important thing, and most people are unaware of this, both men and women. Women's pelvic muscles don't just have the ability to push out, like during birth, they also have the ability to pull in. So when she's ready, like all the way ready, all you need to do is gently rest the tip of your penis or your finger or a sex toy at the entrance of her body, not inside, just at the entrance. And she can actually pull you in and take care of the rest. Now, this process can be both conscious, like she can choose to do it. It can also be involuntary. Some women's bodies just start pulling you in. They start sucking you in as soon as you are there. It's like the best way of getting invited. When you come to someone's house and you knock the door, you usually wait until they enter and invite you in, right? You don't just like bust in. They're gonna come to the door. They're gonna answer the door. They're gonna make space. They're gonna say, why don't you come on in? This is the equivalent of that. Now, not all women are super connected to their pelvic floors. So it's not gonna happen automatically for all women. Achieving this mind-body connection takes a little time, but I believe that pretty much anyone can get there. But the key is to be patient, focus on getting her in the mood with the tips that I gave you and the things that work for you, and trust the process. And of course, if sex has been painful for a long period of time, or you're not really sure exactly how to treat her entire body, her vulva and vagina, so that they really can be relaxed and ready for sex, then you have to check out my course on yoni massage. This is an ancient technique that I have modernized and made super duper simple to understand and to execute with your partner. Inside of this course, I teach you exactly how to touch her vulva and vagina with confidence and with the capacity to help her heal. This will help her to relax, access higher states of pleasure, become even more orgasmic or even multi-orgasmic, and it can help her body to actually heal and trust your touch so that sex becomes less painful. I even demonstrate this on a live model so that you can see it for yourself on a real woman. Check it out in the description below. Last thought. There are more complicated medical reasons that women may experience pain during sex. And no matter what, it's a good idea for her to see a specialist. For Jeff and Susanna, these simple tips totally addressed the pain that she was feeling during penetration. But not just that. Between this and the yoni massage techniques that I taught to them, it lit a match in their sex life. They felt more connected to each other's bodies, more eager to please each other, more excited to learn what the other wanted without taking it personally, and they were more eager to have sex in general. Not bad for some easy changes to their sexual repertoire. All right, thank you for watching. Check out my yoni massage course. You're going to love it. Don't forget to subscribe, and I will see you here next week. Bye-bye.